Hey, what's going on, guys? If you want to see how I created this scene for this photograph, stick around, I'm going to show you. Alright, so for this photograph, I used the Mezco King Conan and the NECA King Kong is my gorilla. So what actually inspired me for this photo was something really simple. So I use a website. I don't want to give them a free plug, so I'm not going to name them. You're welcome to ask me in the comments and I'll tell you what it is. But I use a website that is a paid website, and they provide things like stock photos, stock videos, music, sound effects, so on and so forth. And I found these really cool 3D models of blood effects, and that in and of itself inspired me to want to use them in a photograph. And so for me, I felt like, okay, Conan would be awesome. And I had used these two figures in a previous photograph. And so, like I do a lot of times, I just kind of started playing around with Conan, come up with a pose. I use the battle axe because I still think that's such a cool weapon. And I kind of wonder if that doesn't spawn back from maybe He-Man days. Those of you who are old enough to remember the original He-Man figures, I remember He-Man had a battle axe as well. I always thought that was a really cool weapon. So basically I just came up with this pose for the two figures that would match the blood effect that I wanted to use. I used my television screen for the background photo. This is another photo that I used in the Microsoft Image Create. I asked it to generate some type of a jungle scene. It spit out several options. I actually had a couple that I was debating on. I ended up going with this one inevitably. I used a couple of my trees that I made out of clay, so you can see the fake foliage. And then I stuck a whole lot of little fake greenery pieces all along the diorama, put some dirt out there, give it that texture. And this is something I've kind of started doing recently that I really feel has leveled up my photographs somewhat. I used to just use my diorama floor pieces, put some little props around the scene, call it good. But I've noticed that just adding, there is a difference between adding too much to your scene, over cluttering it, because you don't want to do that. But I like to add real dirt and things of that nature to my floor pieces. It just adds so much texture and so much more realism to it. Yeah, I feel like that's really added a much more realistic look to my photos lately. So in this photograph, I actually did not use my probe lens. I started out with my probe lens, but one thing about the probe lens is if you have a character that is not your main subject, that is in between your main subject and the camera lens with that probe lens, they just look exaggerated in size. I just didn't really like the look of it, so I ended up switching to my 85. Got a much better look. Looking at my final product, I'm definitely very pleased with the way it turned out, so I don't think that was the wrong call. All right, so in this photograph, my ISO was 400, my aperture was set to a 7.1, and my shutter speed was 1/15 of a second. And real quick, guys, if you're enjoying this video, I would greatly appreciate a thumbs up, a subscribe if you're not already, and if you are enjoying this video, I've got others as well you can go back and watch. All right, without further ado, let's jump on over to the behind the scenes.